everyone. Today we are in conversation with Mr. Shrikant Shitole, CEO, iValue InfoSolutions. Mr. Shitole brings over 3 decades of experience in the IT industry with expertise in areas such as cybersecurity, IoT, data center services, IT planning and infrastructure management, and many more. So without further ado, let's get into a conversation with Mr. Shitole. Mr. Shitole, as we already know, that many companies, or rather more than 400 companies, have stopped their business activities in Russia due to the US sanctions. But companies in Russia are stuck due to this. So what exactly do you feel, and what do you think? What do you have to say? Should companies in Russia, is moving to cloud the right move, or should companies in also remain on premises?
Yeah, you can always look at both the options. You can look at both cloud as well as the on-prem storage perspective. Cloud, the reason because that's the need of the hour, because it's an emergency situation. So actually your first option will be what's available. And from the mid-term to long-term perspective, definitely hybrid situation from the storage will definitely help.
All right. So how do storage companies solve this problem that is currently going on? And what exactly according to you, are some of the storage companies doing to solve such problems?
So when you look at the multi-cloud environment as well as hybrid environment, both, essentially you're looking at how do I migrate my storage from one place to another place? Okay, so if it is cloud one to hybrid, to the on-prem, or on-prem back to the hybrid, especially when you're looking at the Russia and Ukraine scenario, definitely makes sense to move the storage or the data completely from backup point of view, or even from the real-time perspective, to the cloud as a immediate solution, and then later on move it back to the on-prem from the mid-term to long-term in order to reduce your expense.
Okay, so what trends and challenges do storage companies foresee in the future?
So storage companies, everybody's right now up against the semiconductor shortage issue across the globe. So there could be a problem in terms of availability of the hardware. Okay, essentially, especially from the controller perspective, and that could be challenge which we see foresee from the midterm, or rather I would say short term to midterm kind of a period, which is between now to say next 1 year time frame, and hence it is making sense to look at some of the latest scenarios in terms of how you can use a flash kind of technologies, or the blade storage, but essentially moving into a very high performance kind of storage scenarios, which will essentially reduce the overall footprint for the hardware. That's one of the key area which you can look at it. The second key area which can look at it is from the backup and the archival perspective. Whatever is the necessary statutory guidance coming from the various regulators, as long as you stick to that rather than sticking to what the organization wants to do from the backup and storage perspective. So I think that's the easier way to look at it. I'm referring right now only from the short term and the mid term perspective.
All right. So the theme of our upcoming edition is data center, and we have some questions on that too. Number one being, how has India grown to become the data center hub, and what is driving the growth of data centers in India?
1.2 billion people actually driving on a digital landscape, from the digitalization perspective, in order to get the efficiency as well as the higher productivity. I think that's the key growth driver from the data center perspective. That's the growth trajectory for India, essentially. And when you look at it, some of the B2B and G2C as well as G2B or G2C, I think these are the 3 or 4 trends which are essentially driving this entire data center growth. Whether you are referring to the private data center or the hyperscalers, both. Hyperscaler, I mean to say, is public data centers.
And last but not the least, what are your predictions for the Indian data center market?
So it's going to grow. It has to grow. The reason because data privacy is one area which is getting right now, as we are discussing, the bill is likely to get tabled, and so there will be some demand which will come back from the data privacy perspective, and hence data will have to reside back into the country, especially the critical information, CI or PII kind of information, and that's the reason data center will grow, both public cloud as well as the private data centers. The only one challenge which I'm seeing right now from the market point of view is that expenditure may go up from the customer's point of view, because the power infrastructure or the power tariffs are likely to go up. So in the next I would 6 to 1 year, considering, of course, Ukraine-Russia issue as well as otherwise. But that's that one concern which is definitely going to be there, both for the data center providers as well as for the customers.
All right. All right. Great. Thank you so much. So that was Mr. Shitole giving us an insight into the cloud storage and data center market in India. Thank you so much for speaking to Digitaltech Media, Mr. Shrikant. You have a lovely day.
Thank you. Thanks, Pooja. Thanks a lot for inviting. Thank you.